All right. Back to here. Okay, parallel lines are lines in the same plane that do not intersect. They're lines like this. Okay? So on the ceiling tiles, two lines that do not intersect. They go this way, the same direction. They're not ever going to intersect because they're parallel to each other. Okay? Floor tiles, same way. Lines that do not intersect. Now this line on the floor and this line on the ceiling are parallel because they're both going in the same direction. So we could make an imaginary plane up and down, okay? And they'd be parallel. They have to be in the same plane. Skew lines are not in the same plane. So that's like a floor tile line going this way and a ceiling tile going this way. So in a box, we draw a box. This line and this line are skew lines because they're not in the same plane. They're never going to intersect. This line will never hit this line in a box. Never. Okay? But just because they don't intersect doesn't mean they're parallel. This one's going across, this one's going up and down. So these are what are called skew lines. They're in different planes. They're in different planes and they're not going to intersect. Okay? Parallel lines are in the same plane and do not intersect. So that's the difference between skew lines and parallel lines. Skew lines, different planes. Parallel lines, same plane. Now, a transversal. If we have parallel lines, a transversal is a line that hits two separate lines. So this is a transversal right there. These are the lines that it hits. Now, corresponding angles are these two angles. They're in the same corresponding position. Upper right, same corresponding position. Okay? Then, if we have alternate interior angles, this one and this one, they're on the opposite sides of the transversal, alternate sides of the transversal, in between the two parallel lines, so interior. Alternate interior angles are like that. Alternate exterior angles are on opposite sides of the transversal and to the outsides of the parallel line. See how these two are on the insides because they're in between? So inside is interior. The interior house is the inside. The exterior of your house is the outside. So we're on the outsides on the alternate exterior angles. And same side interior angles are on the same side of the transversal. Same side of the transversal to the insides of the two parallel lines. You have to know those vocab words. Okay? Everything in this chapter hinges on these vocab words. Okay? You have to know the difference between corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and same side interior angles. You have to know how they're located when it comes to parallel lines to understand what's going on in this chapter. Okay? So, what types of angles are two? Let me use a different color highlighter here. What types of angles are two? I don't want. So something's up here. All right, let's try this again. What types of angles are 2 and 5? Out of that list of angles, and you can look on your vocab sheet, what kind of angles are 2 and 5 in this situation? Corresponding angles, because see how it's to the upper right, same corresponding position. Okay? What about 2 and 8? What types of angles are 2 and 8? Alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior. How about 4 and 6? Same side interior because they're both on the same side of the transversal and to the inside of the two lines? What about 1 and 6? Corresponding, because they're in the same corresponding position. What about 3 and 6? Alternate interior. Excuse me. Because they're on opposite sides of the transversal to the insides of the two lines. Alternate interior angles. Okay, once you know the relationships, this chapter is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, so corresponding angles. We have 4 sets of corresponding angles here. What's one set of corresponding angles that you see, Jalen? 1 and 5 are one set. What's another set? Willa. What? 4 and 8 are a set of corresponding angles. What's another set, Sawyer? We said 1 and 5, and we've said 4 and 8. What's another set? 7 and 3. So 3 and 7. What's another set? Shay? 2 and 6. Okay? All right. What are alternate exterior angles? Nolan, what's one pair? Alternate exterior. 3 and 5. That's one set. What's another set, Layla? 8 and 2. This is the other set. Alternate interior angles. Tristan, what's the first set?
6 and 4.
6 and 4. What's another set, Jackie? 1 and 7. Okay. Knowing the relationships is important. Okay. 1 and 2 are called same side interior angles. Now, same side interior angles, if we have parallel lines, same side interior angles should always add up to 180. These should add up to 180. If you look at these up here, they're all going to be equal to each other. They're all going to be congruent. Congruent, congruent, congruent. They're going to be equal to each other. 8, if that's like a 60-degree angle, 4 is going to be 60. If 5 is 120, 1 will be 120. If 6 will be 60, then 2 will be 60, and so on. So these are the same size, these are the same size, these are the same size, these are the same size. These two are the same size, these two are the same size, these two are the same size, these two are the same size. Okay? So you have congruent angles if they're corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior. And you have them add up to 180 if they're same side interior. Okay, so looking at this, which ones are the same size as X? I want the same size. There are 3 of them that are the same size as X. Which are those 3? Chris, what's one of them? 3 is the same size because it's alternate interior. What's another one, Hazel? 7, because it's a vertical angle. What's another one, Bodie? 1, because it's corresponding. Corresponding angle, alternate interior angle, vertical angle. Okay, those are all types of congruent angles. Okay? Now, if you want supplementary angles, supplementary means they add up to what? 180. So supplementary to X would be 2, 4, 6, and 8. Linear pairs are supplementary. Linear pairs are supplementary. Same side interior angles are supplementary. And just because that's supplementary, then 4 will be the same. So if angle 3 is 55 degrees, okay, let's find the other angles. What's another angle on this that's 55 degrees? What's another angle that's 55 degrees, Tyson? 6 is 55 degrees. Okay. What's another one that's 55 degrees? Sawyer. 2 is 55 degrees. What's another one that's 55 degrees, Tony? 7 is 55 degrees. So the other angles aren't 55 degrees. We got to figure out what the other angles are. So, Jaylyn, what's left? Okay, do you need a calculator? Okay, that's fine. You can grab out a calculator. I don't mind. So angle 1 is 125. Okay, angle 1 is 125. So then what do you think angle 4 is? Nolan. 125. And what about angle 5, Tristan? How big is 120? Well, yeah, angle 5 is 125. And then angle 8 is 125. Okay, so you can figure out every angle. Okay, so we've talked about that. We talked about that. We talked about that. Okay, prove the interior angle theorem. Prove that these two are going to be congruent to each other because these are parallel. And you're given M is parallel to N. So M is parallel to N in this proof. So what would be written right here, do you think? Given. That is given. 1 and 3 are supplementary because they are what types of angles? Not vertical. Same side interior angles. Same side interior angles postulate. Okay? So if those are supplementary, then they add up to 180 because that's the definition of being supplementary. The definition of supplementary angles means they add up to 180. Now, 1 and 3 add up to 180. Why do 2 and 3 add up to 180? Because they are a what? We learned that first chapter. 2 and 3 are called a, starts with a L, linear pair. Okay, angle addition, but that's wrong. It should be a linear pair. Definition of a linear pair. Sometimes the book comes up with crazy stuff. Okay? Then, see how 1 and 3 equal to 180, and 2 and 3 equals 180. So we replace 180 with 1 and 3. When you replace, it's called substitution or the transitive property. Then if we take away angle 3 from each side, we have 1 and 2. To take away is to do what in math? Subtract. And then, since the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2, they are congruent. That's the definition of congruence. When two things are equal, then they're congruent. Okay, that would be what a proof would look like there. Okay, we have white trim on a barn, and kind of unusual that they put trim like this, but whatever. I'm all right with it. So if this is 68 degrees and this is parallel to this, how big is angle 1? How big is angle 1 if that is congruent to that? Okay, or parallel. I said congruent. It is parallel. All right, so you got to do some math here. So if you do some math, what do you get, Kelsey? How big is angle 1 if you do a little math? 112. The reason why it's 112 is these two are same side interior angles. Here's the parallel lines, and here's their transversal, running through it like that. Transversal, parallel lines, same side interior angles. Same side interior angles are supplementary. They add up to 180. So if you take 180 minus 68, you get 112. All right, erase all the crazy lines. We know angle 1 is 112. What's angle 2 here? How big is angle 2? What do you think, Nolan? Angle 2 is 68 because they are corresponding angles. Okay, they are corresponding angles. What happens here is this line and this line are parallel. And then this, don't know how I did that, but, and this line right here is their transversal. So if that's a transversal, this and this are corresponding angles. Okay? So now, what's angle 3? If we know angle 2 is 68, what's angle 3? Would that be 112 or would that be 68? 68. Because this line here is parallel to this line here. And my transversal is this line here. This is my transversal. They're in the same corresponding position. So they are corresponding angles. So that would be 68 degrees. Okay? All right, last one. Let's figure out what all these angles are. All right, what's angle 1? We got a 70 out of Tristan. Does everybody think Tristan's right? Yep, because they are a linear pair. Linear pairs are supplementary. What's angle 2? $65. Because a linear pair adds up to 180. So that's 65. So since 2 is 65, what's angle 3? 65, because those are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. What's angle 4 equal to? 115, because they are corresponding angles, or these two are a linear pair. Either way. All right, what's angle 5? 45, because these are corresponding angles. And what's angle 6? 45, because these are vertical angles, or else these are alternate interior angles. Okay? So, parallel lines. If you know which is congruent and which is supplementary, then life is pretty easy with these. Okay? So, I will put out the assignment, and you're going to have a little extra time today because we do not have, or we have class on Friday. So we'll take a little quiz and then we'll do the next section on Friday.